Hello to all my friends out there. Hi, you guys. Okay, when my son was a little boy, and still to this day, we brainstorm. We think of this, we think of that, and don't think your little kids are not a good resource, because they are. Mine's been smart ever since he was born. I think he took after my ex-husband. So anyway, this is like brainstorming, and so when you're brainstorming, what you do is you just let it flow. You think of every crazy thing you can possibly think of, and that's how you can come up with some really good ideas that could really even save you. So this morning I had to go out, and you may have remembered, I hope everyone is doing okay, but just remember, pray to God, and when something pops into your mind, that is probably God speaking to you. Okay, so today you may remember a concept, the sum of the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So what I do is I put all the money together. So I had to go outside of the house, and I had to secure my eBay money, and thank you guys very much for following me and liking and leaving comments, because they have really saved me. Now I want to talk to you guys, if you have a channel, if you're making an 8-minute video, figure out a way to make it at least a 10-minute video so you can put more advertising on your videos. You'll make twice as much money. What has to happen is all of us have to evolve in a way that's going to make existence easier for us. Also, if your videos are not fully loaded with ads, you can go back to the beginning and fully load them with ads. And this might seem like a big too much work and a waste of time. I made a little video that has 200,000 views. Now, mind you, my stuff is not exceptional. So you want to, you want to protect your assets. That would be your little eBay job. And so if you need a job, maybe think, okay, well, maybe I could do an eBay channel. Maybe I have stuff. I think the best thing is, what do you know that when I know it is really going to help me? And do yourself a little channel, and it's hard to do 10 minutes content at the beginning, but if you could, that'd be super duper. Okay, so I was out anyway. So while I was out, I went to Dollar Tree. I have a really good Dollar Tree, and I bought 2 vegetable oils. And the reason I bought these is because, say if somebody asked me, do I have any oil? I don't want to get into my shortening, get into my lard, and this is actually quite a bit of oil. So you could share, but you could also use it yourself. Then, this was 99 cents only. It wasn't Dollar Tree, it was 99 cents only. I bought split peas, and I bought pinto beans. And then I actually bought 2 of these, because you can grind these in the blender and use them in place of tomatoes. And then if you have lettuce, those ground salsas and Parmesan cheese, that's going to make a pretty good salad, a cheap salad. Okay, these are 74 cents, and Diet Coke is $1.76. Remember when they didn't go up for a long time? Well, that's a thing of the past. Okay, so now, I thought, wow, why didn't you think of this before? What's wrong with you? Where is your brain? Well, you learn by doing it. Okay, so I'm making yogurt, and I want to show you this. To create a warm environment, I heated my big saucepan with boiling water. See, it's still very hot. And I put it in the oven to create a warm oven. And so what I had was about 2 cups of powdered milk left, and I thought, why don't you just make your yogurt? This one's going to be good, because look, it's only been in here a few minutes, and it's almost coagulating. So now, okay, so I use my leftover yogurt. my leftover powdered milk, and I thought small batches are good because then you don't run the risk. And I just used my Dollar Tree. I did go to Dollar Tree. I used my Dollar Tree yogurt. Any flavor is good. And then if you save a little of your yogurt, you don't ever have to buy yogurt again. Here is the recipe. This way you won't be going without a dairy. But you do need milk. Sometimes I use you can use a lot more than 2 cups. You can use 4 cups. Some people do a gallon. This is the important part. You're holding your milk to almost boiling. You know, you see the bubbles, but it's not quite boiling for about 20 to 30 minutes. And then when you start the yogurt, take your yogurt out, so it's room temperature. And then you add that to warm milk, and you slip it into the oven. This isn't going to take long at all. So I have a bunch of things I wanted to talk to you guys about. The two item meals is a good thing to put into the back of your mind. So I have in my refrigerator somewhere my beans that I made the other night. And so if you have these beans made with milk, you don't even need cheese. So you can have beans and tortillas, and that is a 2-item meal. I might have already done that one, but that's okay. It bears repeating. Get my bean recipe. Okay, in my freezer, I have lunch meat. You can buy this at Walmart. Dash in and get some. Lunch meat and cheese. Any kind. I buy that one at Dollar Tree. So that's a two-item meal. I also have frozen food in here, you guys. You know, that is like hamburgers or fish burgers. I don't know if those are hard to find. Okay, so now, 2-item meals. All right. So while we're brainstorming, if you guys think of something, leave it under the comments. It could really help somebody. Don't go, oh well, you know. No, you never know. No. What we want to do is evolve and adjust now, and things will be okay if we do that. Okay, if you're unemployed, what to do? So let's just brainstorm. Okay, you don't have a job, and maybe you don't have any money, and your rent is coming due, and what are you going to do? Well, what you're going to do is now you're going to get yourself in a position to find a relative or friend to team up with. Chances are they're not in such great shape either, or they're smart enough to see how reducing the bills by half could be beneficial. Or if it's a relative, even better. Then you're going to go and you're going to get food stamps. You're going to find the food pantries. You're going to call 211. You're going to call all the churches, and you're going to stockpile up food, because another one of these isolations will probably be coming. Okay, so you're going to do everything you can now, and you're going to call WIC if you have babies. And there's the Red Cross, and if any of you know other resources or you have ideas, please leave them under comments. Okay, now, during this thing, eBay would have been doable. You know, if you need money, sell your stuff. Kids' clothes should sell pretty good. I try to find them in thrift stores, but they were scanty and they weren't like new, so I didn't buy them. Okay, eBay is doable. The reason that I didn't do the eBay is because they say if you're older and you catch this, you're pretty much screwed. So I had to be really careful. Okay, now do everything to protect your assets and your money. That would be your house, your cars, your credit, everything you can. Okay, and in your area, direct people to social services, food banks, and churches so that you don't end up victims, and so that they don't suffer. You don't want people suffering unnecessarily. Okay, and then put this into the back of your mind. You can survive if things get really, really bad, and they possibly could. You can survive on 1 can of food, eating every other day, eating very cheap food 2 days, and better food 1 day. Wash your clothes in a bucket. And so I did videos on this. You can use your bathtub. That's a good way to get your bathtub nice and clean. But you will use a plunger to do the agitation, and then you'll soak them, and then you'll plunge them, and because in Alaska, Alaskan Prepper is saying they don't want to give out change. You got to wash your clothes. It'll be easier. You can use a plastic trash can. Also, if you can get the metal trash cans and the plastic trash cans to keep your food in, it's going to be a lot safer and easier to evacuate, God forbid. Okay, now the next thing is pandemics are possible and probable. So, I'm sure none of us were thinking, oh, the whole darn country is going to be shut down, and, we're going to be contaminated with disease. But pandemics are possible and probable. Sheltering in place is a real possibility. This could happen again. This could happen over an extended period of time. That's why we want to have food. Okay, and then as soon as possible, as soon as it comes back, get masks, gloves, toilet paper, and bleach. I was able to find bleach today. Consider your stockpile as provisions. Like an army. I told you guys the story that after the Vietnam War, my boyfriend was a mercenary, and he went over to Iraq to work as a storekeeper, and they had to guard the provisions with their lives. So start thinking about your food and your water as your provisions, not just groceries. Okay, stockpile food and water. I find just buying 2 at a time, 1 or 2, every time you go to the store. And then the other thing is stockpile vinegar, lemon, and tomatoes, because you can use, that is why I was taking time to dehydrate lemons and buy big bags of citrus, and if you don't get around to eating them, just dehydrate them. If you don't have a dehydrator, dehydrate them in the oven at 250. The thing is, the citrus and the tomatoes are acidic foods, and those should protect you somewhat from disease. But if you foolishly expose yourself, no one's gonna be able to help you if you don't take protective measures. So what we want to do is we want to pick our battles. Okay, they've made it known they want us to stop wasting. Well, it's in our own best interest to do that. Like the beans, if I don't eat them, I will freeze them. So if you make a point to protect your provisions by eating it all down, then you're going to be in much better shape and safer. Okay, today I also bought these because these make pretty good thumbprint cookies. You just mix them up according to the directions, and you just put a little jam on the top, and that's a good way to use down your jam. Okay, so now, after the isolation is over, and chances are, I heard Britain has a 3-week isolation. They haven't given us any numbers on how long, but they said at one point 15 days. Okay, so after the isolation is over, save money by eating the stockpile down, by using all the toilet paper that you bought And then, you know, now we're getting better at the stockpile. We know what we need if we're in isolation, and, you know, start preparing for the next isolation by eating your stockpile down. Okay, so now to brainstorm on some of the food. Okay, one of the most valuable things is milk and cheese, because with your milk you can make gravy, but you can also feed it to the babies. I like evaporated milk the most, but it's expensive. But powdered milk is good. I'm making my yogurt today out of powdered milk. Now, cheese is valuable because you can buy Velveeta type cheese cheap, but you can also stockpile your freezer full of cheese, and you can make macaroni and cheese, lunch meat and cheese sandwich, cheese and olives in place of meat, beans and cheese, and pasta salad with olives, cheese, and beans. So what I did is I used to go to the Adventist church when we could go to church, and I would make these pasta salads, and there would never be anything left. There wasn't anything exceptional about these pasta salads. I would boil 1 bag of pasta. I would boil 1 bag of mixed vegetables, any kind you have, and then I would add olives. You can add cheese, that's awfully tasty, but in their case I didn't, and I added chickpeas. Just rinse them. It could be any kind of beans, it could be black beans, and then you put like Italian salad dressing. I want to make a mention of this. I'll probably be switching. See how there's some, this is olive balsamic vinegar. See how there's a little oil on top? So that's going to protect you from running out of oil if you ever needed a little for some odd reason. Okay, so now I want to talk to you about, and then I'm done, 2 things. Okay, I mentioned in one of the videos that I was very interested in the 7 trumpets in the book of Revelations, and I've studied it for years on end, and basically I was really getting nowhere with these trumpets. So I thought, wow, you got all kinds of time, so watch these trumpet videos. And I came up with a good one, and I put it on my video for you guys to see on Twitter. Go to Rhoda-Stone Twitter. This is the one that I finally found that I agree with. Okay, there was other ones that made good point, like nuclear waste. You know, we'll get into that in a minute. It might be, these explosions might expose us to nuclear waste and, you know, such like that. So most people agree that the sounding of the trumpets is God proclaiming judgment. Okay, what happened is Salt Lake City had an earthquake and Moroni's trumpet fell off, and I thought, uh-oh, that might be one of the trumpets, right? So I don't think so, but, you know, also they could have had some, I don't know if there's a nuclear plant there. They had an earthquake. So, okay, so the one that I found that I liked, that I agree with, says that as in the time of Pharaoh in Egypt, the Israelites, who were God's people, were protected, and then the idol-worshiping Egyptians were not. And it goes through all the plagues. So the trumpets are judgment when instead of Egypt, it would be the world, right? So the plagues, wormwood would be the poisoning of water. That's why you should stockpile water. Pestilence, like locusts, and he goes into the fact that he does not think the locusts are anything but locusts, and why. So some of us may be here to endure to the end. Some people think they're going to be translated, and possibly. So I posted that trumpet video for you guys to see, and I agree with him. It's that thing like knock and the door shall be opened, seek and you will find. Now sometimes it takes you years to find out stuff. Okay, so now I think I got the trumpets figured out. These judgments will come onto the world. That doesn't mean that God's people won't suffer, because they will, and we know there will, but we don't have to be horrified and dismayed. We just have to be resolute in that we're going to endure one day at a time. Okay, so now I want to discuss just for a minute the black goo. A lot of people think that is nonsense. Okay, I have a possible theory, because we are brainstorming, and that's why I saved it till last. So if you're really close-minded about everything, you might want to tune out. Okay, what a lot of people have been saying is, oh no, the black goo, the black goo. Okay, possible that the black goo is some kind of biologic material that a demon can inhabit. If the demon can infect the people, possibly, by giving them a disease, then, the entity would have a body. And so the black goo might come out of these nuclear plants or the oil fields. So do I think there is black goo? Do I think there is it'd be a carbon-based substance, maybe from the oil? Do I think there is such a thing as black goo? And I do. And I do think that the black goo is here, and I do think the black goo is creating havoc. So if you want to do research on the black goo, go to Miles Johnson. He talks about the black goo. Super Soldier talks. And so, we're not to be ignorant of the enemy's devices, but we are to know that God is protecting the saints. That not 100%. Some of us can be killed, or all kinds of stuff can happen to us too. But I do think there is some merit to the black goo. And so anyway, that's it on the black glue. Okay, so now, you guys, if you have any good ideas, especially for the people who have lost their jobs, some of these people, the main thing you want to do is, you lost your job, you want to start looking for a job yesterday. And I used to tell my son, you want to treat job search like a job. When I used to be fired, every time I turn around, what I would do, and I've told you guys this story many times, I would get into my car and I would say, God, I don't know where I'm going, but you know where I'm going. And I would start driving all over the place and asking for jobs everywhere I could think of. And I would say, I remember Hillary, find a job, find a better job. I think that's a good strategy. Okay, you guys, that's enough out of me for today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I love you all. Thank you very much for viewing my videos and helping me out so much, me and my family. I really, really appreciate it. And God bless you all.